Costco's TV aisle promises incredible deals, but what Costco doesn't tell you about their TVs changes everything. That $1,000 member special might look identical to a $1,200 set at Best Buy, yet secretly packs fewer features or last year's tech. Why do some models only exist inside Costco's walls? Because when you think you're saving, you may be giving up more than you realize. And the game is rigged, so you'll never notice. The real story behind Costco's TV deals starts where the marketing ends. A bright yellow sign flashes above a stack of giant boxes. Member-only savings. Includes $100 gift card. The price tag, bold and oversized, sits right at eye level. Shoppers pause, calculating the deal in their heads. That gift card, bundled with the TV, makes the price feel lower than anywhere else, even if on paper the total cost is nearly identical to other stores. It's not just about dollars and cents, it's about the feeling of getting something extra, an insider advantage for being a member. Everywhere you look, signs use words like exclusive, bonus, or limited time. These aren't just labels, they're carefully chosen to trigger a sense of urgency and value. The promise of free delivery, a bundled HDMI cable, or an extra year of warranty, all framed as included, nudges shoppers to see the offer as a package too good to pass up. Even when the accessory is something basic, like a wall mount or a streaming stick, it's presented as a special perk, making the main purchase feel like a steal. This is the power of framing. A TV that might seem average on its own suddenly looks like a premium deal when it comes with a stack of bonuses. The signage doesn't just show a price, it builds a story of value, making it harder to walk away. In the moment, most people don't question whether the free extras are worth much or if they're even needed. The deal feels bigger, and that's what matters. Costco's limited selection adds another layer. With only a handful of TV models on display, the choice feels simpler and safer. There's no wall of confusing specs or endless brands, just a curated set, each one paired with those enticing extras. The result is a shortcut for the brain. Fewer choices, more confidence, and a stronger urge to buy. But beneath the surface, the real question is what's actually inside the box. And how much of the value is real versus just well packaged. The signs tell one story, but the details behind the model number may tell another. A row of massive TV screens fills the aisle, each one lit up with bright demo footage. Look closer and there are only a handful of models to choose from. Maybe 3, maybe 5. The shelf tags list a few big brands, but the selection is so tight, it feels curated to perfection. For most shoppers, that's a relief. No need to scan through dozens of options or decode a wall of technical jargon. The decision feels safer, almost like someone else already did the homework. This isn't an accident. Retail studies show that when people face fewer choices, especially for expensive, complicated products, they're more likely to buy and feel good about it. The effect is so strong that researchers call it the choice funnel. In one famous experiment, shoppers were 10 times more likely to make a purchase when offered 6 options instead of 24. Too many choices, and the brain shuts down. A narrow selection, and the path to checkout feels clear. Costco's entire TV aisle is built around this principle. By offering only a few models per size, the store reduces the risk of buyer's remorse and boosts confidence. The message is subtle but powerful. These are the best picks, so you can't go wrong. That trust is part of the appeal. For busy families or anyone overwhelmed by specs, it's a shortcut that feels like protection against making a bad call. But limited choice also hides complexity. With just 1 or 2 models from each brand, it's easy to assume every TV is top tier. The reality is more complicated. Those single model shelves often feature special variants designed just for warehouse clubs, sometimes with specs that are hard to compare to mainstream versions. The fewer the options, the less likely shoppers are to notice what's missing under the hood. That's the flip side of confidence. When choice is simple, scrutiny drops. Hidden differences slip by, bundled into a sense of safety that's not always justified. Flip the box over and a jumble of letters and numbers stares back, model codes that seem random but are anything but. On an LG TV, for example, the difference between C3PUA and C3AUA is not a typo. That last trio of letters is a clue. For Costco, it's almost always AUA. At Best Buy or Amazon, it might be PUA or PU. Samsung, Sony, TCL, they all use their own codes, but the pattern holds. A subtle suffix just for warehouse clubs. This isn't just branding. Manufacturers and retailers work together to create these unique codes for one reason. So you can't walk into a store, pull up your phone, and price match directly. The model number is the lock, and only the retailer has the key. It's a tactic called MAP protection, minimum advertised price. By tweaking the code, brands sidestep price matching policies, letting Costco advertise a TV as an exclusive deal, even if the core specs are nearly identical to what's sold elsewhere. But the differences don't always end with the label. Sometimes the Costco version drops a feature, a missing HDMI port, a different remote, a slightly dimmer panel, or a firmware tweak that's invisible until you dig into a settings menu. These changes are rarely listed on the shelf tag or in the online description. Instead, they're tucked away in spec sheets, if they're mentioned at all. And because the model number is unique, third-party review sites almost never test the exact version you'll find at Costco. For the average shopper, these suffixes blend into the background, but to someone who knows what to look for, they're a roadmap. LG's AUA means warehouse exclusive. PUA signals mainstream retail. Samsung's D or A at the end of a model number can mean the same thing. These codes aren't just technical. They're the industry's way of keeping comparisons confusing and making sure each retailer can claim a special deal. So the next time you're in the aisle, take a second look at that label. The answer to what you're really buying is often hidden in plain sight, right at the end of the model number. A technician in a blue shirt stands between two nearly identical TVs. The model numbers look almost the same. One ends in AUA, the other in PUA. Both play the same bright cityscape video, but the difference jumps out when the lights dim. On the retail model, headlights and neon signs pop, casting sharp highlights. The warehouse club version looks flatter, with the brightest spots noticeably dulled. A meter on the screen reads 820 nits on one side, 570 on the other. A gap that's hard to ignore when watching HDR movies or sports. Next, a slow-motion soccer replay shows a ball streaking across the field. The mainstream model keeps the action crispy, while the warehouse version trails a faint blur. The refresh rate spec on the box claims 120 Hz for both, but a quick menu check reveals the warehouse model's panel maxes out at 60 Hz native. For gamers or action fans, that's not just a number. It's the difference between smooth motion and jittery play. Ports on the back tell a similar story. The retail model offers 4 HDMI 2.1 inputs, ready for game consoles and soundbars. The warehouse version has 3, and one is an older HDMI 2.0. A flashlight scan of the rear panel confirms it. One less slot, less flexibility for home theater setups. Even audio gets trimmed. A quick sound test with a music video shows the retail set producing deeper bass and clearer voices. The warehouse version sounds thinner, with a smaller speaker box hidden behind the plastic. These aren't changes you'll spot on a price tag or shelf label. They show up in the living room months after the receipt is filed away. Yet try to find these numbers on Costco's website or in the manual, and you'll come up empty. No detailed spec sheet, no side-by-side chart. The only way most shoppers find out is after they get home, plug in, and notice something's missing. For anyone expecting a one-to-one match with retail, the reality is right there, in the highlights, the motion, the sound, and the missing ports. The receipt slips into a wallet, and the clock starts ticking. For TVs and most electronics, Costco's return window is exactly 90 days. After that, the option to bring it back, no questions asked, disappears. Many shoppers don't realize how quickly those 3 months can pass. It's easy to feel protected, but the countdown is strict, and the policy doesn't bend for late discoveries or second thoughts. Costco's official return policy is generous compared to most retailers, but it comes with boundaries. The 90-day deadline covers TVs, computers, cameras, and tablets, categories once covered by a limitless return promise, until the rules changed in 2007. Back then, the store was flooded with old electronics coming back years after purchase. The new policy drew a line. Returns for high-tech items now stop at 3 months, no exceptions. Stories from members surface in forums and news reports. One member, excited about a new TV, found a dead pixel after 4 months. At the return counter, the answer was firm. The window had closed. Another member, who swapped out 3 TVs in a single year, got a quiet warning at checkout. The cashier mentioned a note on the account. Too many high-value returns, especially in a short time, can trigger a closer look. In rare cases, Costco has suspended or even canceled memberships, always with a refund of the remaining fee, but with no way back in. The policy is broad by design. Costco reserves the right to limit returns or exchanges at any time, with or without receipt. For most shoppers, a single return isn't a problem, but repeated electronics returns draw attention. Managers have the authority to flag accounts, issue warnings, or require supervisor approval for future returns. There's no official blacklist, but the risk is real for those who treat the policy as a revolving door. The safety net is there, but it's not bottomless. Planning ahead, testing every feature, checking for defects, and making sure the TV is truly right matters more than ever. The 90-day clock doesn't pause, and once it runs out, the next layer of protection comes from somewhere else. A TV arrives at your door, but the story doesn't end with the box on the porch. For most shoppers, the phrase "free delivery" sounds simple, until the truck pulls up and the driver leaves the set at the curb. That's standard at Costco. Curbside drop-off, no unboxing, no setup, and no haul away for your old TV. If you want the TV carried inside, mounted, or connected to your sound system, the real costs begin to show. Across the country, professional installation surveys put the price of white glove service, delivery, mounting, wiring, and calibration at anywhere from $100 to $200, sometimes more in high-demand areas. That's just for the basics. If you need wall brackets, surge protectors, or special HDMI cables, those are extra, and the markup can be steep. In-store, a single premium HDMI cable can cost double what you'd pay online. Even recycling your old TV is an add-on, often $30 to $50, and not always available in every region. Many buyers don't realize what they're missing until the delivery day. A curbside drop-off means you're responsible for lifting a 70-inch screen, often weighing over 70 pounds, through doorways and upstairs. If the box is damaged or the TV arrives cracked, resolving the issue can be a hassle, especially if you've already signed for the delivery. For renters or those in apartments, the fine print matters even more. Some buildings require proof of professional setup, and Costco's basic delivery doesn't meet that bar. Accessory prices add up fast. A wall mount that costs $30 online might run $60 at the warehouse. HDMI cables, surge protectors, and even basic remote batteries are all priced for convenience, not for savings. It's easy to walk out thinking you've paid for everything, only to find out that the real bill comes later. One service call, one missing cable, or one extra trip to the store at a time. The numbers change the equation. That unbeatable TV deal can look very different once you add $150 for installation, $40 for cables, and a fee for hauling away your old set. The sticker price is just the beginning. For anyone focused on the bottom line, these hidden costs can turn a bargain into a budget buster, long before you even turn the TV on. A price tag with a .97 at the end isn't just a random number. It's a signal. At Costco, prices ending in .97 mean the item has been marked down by a manager, often to clear out inventory. When you see a TV with a .97 or even a rare .00 on the tag, it usually means the store is making room for newer models or that the unit has been sitting for a while. These markdowns aren't advertised online or in flyers, they're local decisions, and they can mean serious savings. But there's a catch. Clearance tags often land on display models or units that have been handled more than usual. A floor model might have been running 8 hours a day for months, racking up wear you can't see at first glance. Before grabbing that bargain, check the serial number on the box and compare it to the receipt. Make sure the TV is factory sealed, not just retaped. Look for missing remotes, manuals, or cables. If you're offered a display unit, ask about the warranty. Sometimes it's shorter or the coverage is limited. These small steps can mean the difference between a true deal and a future headache. For anyone chasing the lowest possible price, knowing how to read those markdown codes and how to inspect what's inside the box is the real secret to shopping smart at Costco. On the warehouse shelf, a brand new TV looks like the latest model, but the timing tells a different story. Costco's aisles are often stocked with last year's flagship sets brought in after the next generation has already launched at other retailers. For bargain hunters, this can mean big savings on a proven product. But there's a trade-off hidden in the details. By the time these TVs reach the warehouse, manufacturers have already shifted their focus to newer panels and updated features. Software support and firmware updates for the prior generation may wind down sooner than expected, sometimes within a year or two. That can affect everything from streaming app compatibility to picture quality tweaks and security patches. It's not just about missing out on the latest tech, it's about how long your TV will stay current. For anyone who cares about longevity, the true cost of an older model might show up later, when updates slow and new features pass you by. Costco's 90-day electronics return policy, highlighted in their official membership terms, is shorter than many expect. Exclusive TV models like LG's AUA variant have been shown to lose features such as extra HDMI ports and up to 250 nits of brightness compared to mainstream versions. Inventory tags ending in .97 or .00 signal clearance or markdowns, yet these codes are not publicly advertised. While Costco's bundled deals and limited model selection create the impression of unbeatable value, evidence from price tags, box labels, and membership policy documents reveals a more complex picture. Some questions remain. Manufacturers and retailers do not publicly disclose full lists of technical differences for warehouse-specific models, and the long-term support windows for these versions are rarely clear. Still, the facts show that what looks like a discount often means older technology, modified specs, or extra costs for delivery and setup. Members pay for reliability and convenience, not necessarily the latest tech. The evidence is clear. At Costco, the true value of a TV is found in the details beneath the surface.